This is Felix Grolman of Grundgrün.
Exactly.
Welcome to Ecosummit.
Thank you very much, Jan.
Here's the clicker.
Thank you. Well, I'm Felix, and I'm very happy today to talk to you about Energy Utility 2.0. I'm as well very happy that Rolf and Ines already set the stage a bit, talking about utilities and what utilities used to do and what challenges they face. Today I want to talk to you a bit about what we have done with Grundgrün, who Grundgrün is. I want to say a few words about the old and new world of the energy sector, the energy revolution that's happening there, seeing how that actually fits with our company, and then see what we can actually do to deliver value there and drive that further. A few words about Grundgrün. We're in the market for about three and a half years now. We started in 2011. My co-CEO and founder, Eberhard Holstein, set up the company. He's been in the renewable energy industry since the 70s. He literally set up the first wind turbine in the 70s. He's been one of the driving forces behind the Energiewende and basically brings a lot of engineering and proper energy experience to the floor here. And then in 2012, we started doing direct marketing. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically we go out and buy all the energy produced by renewable energy assets in Germany and physically trade them on our trading floor and bring them into the energy exchanges. That was a very good sort of starting engine for us to actually go into that market. And then we went on with a very strong growth in 2013, basically grew our business by over 500% and are now in 2014 in that direct marketing space and number 4 in the German market. On top of that, we've started delivering energy to end clients, so all of you could theoretically become our clients now. We can theoretically serve about 43 million households in Germany at the moment. We are only doing a few thousand because we haven't really rolled out that yet, but we are basically ready to be a full-scale energy utility powered only by renewable energy. We are a Berlin company, sitting here in Berlin, have grown out to about 50 people and already producing quite significant revenues. So what's happening to the energy sector? What do we see here? I mean, in the old world, it was always quite clear. We had the big companies, the big incumbents. They would build a power station, finance a power station, run a power station, get the power from the power station, and then sell it to consumers. Basically understanding that a bit more as a, not as a real customer relationship for a long time, but more as a sort of, they have to buy the power from me, so I better do it at whatever cost. In the new world, we see a quite different picture now, and we're already seeing that very clearly in the renewable world. You see basically big institutional investors, be it pension funds, big insurance companies, who come in and invest into renewable energy assets, and the only thing they're really interested in is getting a calculable and stable yield out of that. They use an EPC and an O&M for a wind farm. It's all fully guaranteed how much power comes out, and then they're looking for somebody to actually bring that power to the market. The old utilities have not gone into that market. All the major utilities have a direct marketing facility of under 1 gigawatt, if I'm correctly informed at the moment. So they haven't really gone into there, and so there's a big chance for a new kind of utility to position itself, and that's what we've done. And we think that is a very successful model already for the renewable space. It might even be for the conventional power space at some point. That and in the United States, you already see these developments that basically energy companies put all their asset into yield codes and can finance them in a much better way, but then need somebody who manages that and who actually brings their power to the market. Well, down there's one theory what could happen to the big utilities. Me personally, I would like them to continue, and there's a lot of knowledge in these companies, and there's a lot of very important systemic values that they create for the society. But I think there is a big crisis, and at the same time, it obviously creates opportunities for companies like Grundgrün. So how do we fit in there? What do we basically do? I've already talked a bit about it. We go into the market and try to source energy. So we talk to energy producers and say, can you please sell me all your energy that you produce? And we do that first directly. But then, since we have a very scalable and institutional platform to put that on, very automatic, we can basically go out to other companies who want to pool energy producers and who can't bring them to the market and do it in a sort of white label OEM approach. And we're doing that very successfully as well for some large energy companies, actually. And then what we do with the energy, we put it in our central heart of our system. It's our trading floor and our trading and management system. And there we've got about 8 traders now who trade basically 7 days a week on a 24-hour system, trade the energy on the European energy exchanges, and make sure that everything is balanced. The complicated thing there is that you always don't really know how much energy is produced at what time when you have wind power or solar power. So we have mathematicians and meteorologists who actually think about how much power is produced when on the supply side, and think about how much is needed on the demand side, and then match that together. And all this we're doing now in this space for the renewables. It is possible as well to do it in balancing energy markets and to do it even on the conventional side as well. And then the next thing we do, we make sure that we sell this power again, so we bring it onto the distribution side. And there we have, again, a fully automated system. If you want to become clients of Grundgrün, which you're of course very welcome to, you can just go on the internet, you enter your details, and none of my employees ever has to look at the whole process, and you get your power at home. And that is something that, to my knowledge, none of the other energy companies in Germany at least have realized yet, that there's a fully automated system in that regard. We do this, and then we do this, of course, for SMEs, and we do this for large industrial clients as well. So basically, what we do is everything an energy utility does, but we are asset light. We don't want to own the asset, we want to provide a service. And we obviously don't operate the grid. That's something in Germany the grid operators do. So we're doing this with 50 people here in Berlin. We can scale that up with not having to grow very much space of personnel, and serving hundreds of thousands of clients or even millions of clients in that space on the distribution side. How can we do that? I just want to go very briefly through that, and that was one of the reasons why we have a quite complex setup. There's a lot of systems that go into that. That's why energy utilities are complicated. You need to have a virtual power plant aggregating your power. You need to basically follow through the process, have a portfolio management system, have a billing system for the upstream, for the downstream. And we've managed to put that all in one integrated IT database and sort of infrastructure suite, which allows us to have a fully automated process there that makes it really, really efficient to handle all these complicated things. Just a quick snapshot so you know how it actually looks like. Here on the left side you see part of our production facilities all throughout Germany, wind, solar, biomass. We can real-time see what's happening there and how much they're producing. And then on the right side you see the filled-in area there is an actual production graph, so that's what one of our power plants has produced. And the 2 lines that you see there are the prognosis that we do based on external factors with our own analytics and own overlay, and we try to match that at all times to sort of balance the grid and sort of place the energy that we buy efficiently on the market. This is always a graph I like to show. That's something that my analyst came up with, and basically it shows the pattern of the grid in Germany. So as you know, basically when you run a power grid, you always have to put as much in as you take out. If you don't do that, the frequency changes. It's not 50 hertz anymore, where it goes up or down, and then something might go poof, and there's a huge economic damage, actually. So there's the TSOs and us who are trying to sort of help getting this grid balanced. So what we do is we look at the patterns in these grid balancing and then try to adapt our prognosis and our activity to actually stabilize that. So whenever you see the blue sort of pattern, we know that there's too much energy on the grid on a continuous basis, and we know these kind of things. Usually people didn't really think about that before, and we try then to counteract that and to balance this thing and actually see these patterns and not only see them while they're happening, but anticipate them as well. So what do we want to do in the future? We are now active in the German market mostly, and we are active in the spot markets and the balancing markets mostly. And the retail market, we want to grow there. We want to grow quite rapidly in the retail market especially, and in the balancing market. And we see a huge potential for internationalization of these things. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking at a conference in Frankfurt, and to a lot of UK market participants. And there's a new regime introduced there, the CFD regime, which is very, very close to the direct marketing regime in Germany. And there's a lot of potential to grow with that kind of know-how that we've here into other markets. So that's what we want to do, and we are quite well underway to achieve that. So just a little overview. So basically the thing that we do is energy management, energy advisory, and energy sales. On the management side, we go into manage power output, manage power plants, manage renewable power plants. We provide to our clients, which run power plants, we provide energy advisory services, and we obviously can sell energy as well. We do this. Everything we do basically is in a bit of a, it's always ready for white labeling, it's always ready to partner up. For example, we have a strong partnership with Electricity here, providing them energy for their solution, providing them power for their solution. So that's something we like to do. So we're obviously looking for partners in this space, we're looking to work with others, we want to change the market quickly, and we don't necessarily need to do it alone, we can do it together, and yeah, that's basically what I wanted to tell you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. You are actually, thank you. You are actually a startup company, right?
Yes, we are. I mean, I still think, I mean, we've got about 50 employees now, and we've got about this year probably about 200 million of revenues. But then if you compare
200
us,
million you
yeah,
want
well,
to make
it's partly because we buy energy and we sell energy,
yeah.
so the revenue numbers are very high. But then if you look at our competitors who've just been on stage, they've got 50,000 employees, and they've got a couple billion of revenues. So I'd still think I'm quite a startup there. Yeah.
And how are you backed? How are you financed? Who are your investors?
We're currently backed by a Swiss single-family office, which is engaged in the energy space quite significantly, and we are financed. We are actually profitable at the moment as well. So, and we are properly financed and backed by them. But as we all have heard here, and which is really a thing, that this market is moving faster than any of us would have thought. And if that is the case, then we would like to go international, to grow bigger, and to grow bigger faster, to sort of not be the person where things sort of walk by without us noticing. And for that, we might look into partnering.
Is it only one family office? Who are they? Can you tell us?
Well, we can talk about that in a later discussion. Yeah.
Okay. And are you interested in venture capital in the future? Do you foresee this, or is this family so cool that they will go with you to any market, well, and they have unlimited?
I mean, they're definitely very cool, of course, but they. But
I like cool families.
Yeah, of course, no. But they. I mean, one of the things that we want is we want to run this very large, very fast. We like partners, especially with international settings and with experience in the space. And it's always good to have these things on the market, and we might think about growing it even faster in the future, and then would go into a structured process of raising more.
Yeah. And you would like to enter UK quite soon. Which other markets in Europe are on your top priority list?
Well, France is developing a bit in that direction as well, thinking more about the integration of renewables, and they're still very dependent on nuclear power, but they're trying to change that. The Benelux markets are always a very interesting thing, and then in Spain, it's a bit different because there's a lot of solar capacity built in Spain, which is actually not being funded at the moment by any government-sponsored PPAs anymore. And there's a big chance for us to go in and structure PPAs ourselves and just say, look, we cannot maybe not take the price risk because we're still a startup, but we can structure the price risk and make it transparent, and then maybe place it with a larger entity who actually wants to take it, and therefore do these kind of things. And there are deals out there. There's been a deal in the Nordic countries where an investor has bought a wind power park in Sweden and then had a long-term PPA with a Google center in Finland, and basically said, I provide you energy for 10 years, and therefore I finance my whole project. So these are the kind of things that we can facilitate. We don't want to own the assets, but we want to provide the service that this becomes possible.
And you have 50 employees. How many are software developers? Because it looks like you develop software internally, right?
We partly develop software internally. We've got an IT department of about 12 people, if I'm correct right now. We do work together with third-party vendors, not the largest ones, which are usually
For
working
example,
for the...
Inacast for the forecasting?
No, we don't. We do work with a couple of weather providers, like AMSIS and Meteorologica and some others, but we have our internal team that makes an overlay on that, because otherwise we wouldn't have a sort of significant advantage to the market. But on the IT side, we try to use off-the-shelf products so that we're scalable, but we always tweak them in a way that nobody can copy it too easily, obviously.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Do you have a question for Felix? Oh, okay. Many questions. Okay. Okay. Short questions. Rolf is starting.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I was quite intrigued by the frequency analysis that you showed. Where do you get the data to actually do this in a meaningful statistical way?
Well, two ways. Well, first of all, there's a lot of public data available, and the question is just to get that into a proper software program and then use MATLAB to run analysis. And then we're in the lucky position that we have 2.8 gigawatts of production capacity in Germany, which is, as you saw, quite neatly distributed, and we get online data from all these sites. So, for example, when I heard about these wind sensors and all these kind of things, it's obviously very interesting for us as well, because it helps us predicting the energy coming out of these things. But we take all this data, put it into a data management system, and then we've got sort of quantitative analysts. We've got a PhD math, a PhD physics guy who are meteorologists as well, and to sort of look into that space and kind of see patterns, do regression analyses, do multi-factor models, and then come up with the result. And that's quite proprietary. And the exciting thing is that a lot of people, these areas, a lot of people haven't looked into yet. There's a lot of stuff which we are sitting there in our office here in Berlin and thinking about, and they are not necessarily rocket science, but nobody has really run a proper analysis on this data yet, and it helps us a lot to provide good services, stabilize the grid, and then in the end do something that we really want to do with this company as well and drive the German Energiewende forwards.
Hi, thank you. My name is Werner. I want to know what are the entrance hurdles for your model to other countries. For instance, if I'm Austrian, if I want to become a customer, what has to be done to achieve that?
If you want to become a retail customer, so if you want to buy my power at home. Well, basically, we would have to have a balancing grid in Austria, which is relatively easy. We're actually looking into Austria at the moment, and because it's very, very close to the German market. And then once I'm there, I have to get all the market communication processes aligned, it's a very complicated thing, how I have to tell the grid operator how much energy my clients use and how much energy I produce to keep that all balanced. Which is in Austria, I think, relatively similar to the German system, and it would be a relatively low investment, but it would, of course, be require a significant amount of attention from the company. So we can't just flip our fingers and go into all European markets yet. The markets are still too different, which is a shame. We hope they'll be liberalized and being more sort of that you can go into other markets.
And second question, are you interested in local production and consumption data of PV, of residentials and small and medium enterprise?
Yes, of course. I mean, I haven't really had the time to go into these things yet, but I mean, we do the big solar and the big wind farms. We do have like 200 megawatt clients and stuff like that. What we have done on the end consumer side is have a fully automated system, and we can mirror that on the production side as well. So now direct marketing is becoming compulsory in Germany when the new EEG comes in, and the minimum threshold goes down. So it used to be 500 kilowatt and goes down. So even for smaller installations, it might become possible. And once we have fully automated this, I don't need a sales team to actually enter data and stuff. And then it all runs in a sort of big process. And then I suddenly have a park of sort of 6, 7, 8 gigawatt in Germany in small solar capacity, and I can all have that on my virtual power plant and manage that all. And if I manage the inverters, I can even provide balancing energy. And these are all things we have prepared our infrastructure for, but we try to do one thing after the other, because maybe we just had 500% growth, and we need to sort of make sure that we sort of do that in a sustainable way.
So ultimately, you want to connect a single household. Ultimately,
yes. I mean,
as a supplier of energy.
Yes, yes. I think that's something. I mean, there's a lot of Professor Quashnik talked about that quite a lot, and there's a lot of problems with that, because you still need to pay for the insurance you get by the grid. that you always have power when the sun is out and there's no wind. And you need to have a pricing model, because right now it's not in the current market model, and you have to basically do a new market design to achieve that. But I think there is a huge market for it. The costs have come down so much, and if you sort of get it intelligently into the market, then you might not need to build all these huge power lines for Germany, but you can do it by actually knowing what happens in the grid and managing it intelligently, and that's what we're trying to do.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Felix.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Super cool company.